which is happening today, the 21st of January in some parts of the world, and here in Australia, it'll be tomorrow, the 22nd of January. It'll be around 7:23 Sydney time, 10:23 obviously Perth time, so slightly different based on where we are in the world. So this is an Aquarius supermoon. So at a supermoon, we have the sun and the moon together, which means that this is a supermoon, so they're very, very close to the Earth. This is happening up here in the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is a time new innovation, a time of being your authentic self, owning your uniqueness, your quirkiness, the parts of you that make you really, really different, the parts of you that you really, really, really need to honor and respect, and that, that make you who you are. So this is an exciting time. It's the beginning of a new time. It's also a part of, there's also a lot here with this being right next to Pluto and Capricorn. Pluto and Capricorn is about old structures. It's about structures that are starting to, the traditional structures, but they're starting to break down. And that's what I think we're going to see. And as Pluto moves into Capricorn this year, we're going to see things change a lot, and things will move from sort of the old traditional ways more into unique, authentic, different ways led by people, much more evolutionary, much more progressive. So we're seeing a change here, and this new moon is actually really starting to bring all of that together, which is really, really exciting. So in a sense, we're basically seeing the old way of being, the old way of doing, and the old way of things working in the world changing quite significantly. By the time we get to March, there's a lot going on in March, so it'll be a whole brand new time. So this will be very, very powerful, especially for those of us on our spiritual path, because we're really now gearing up and getting ready for that huge change. The other thing with Aquarius is that it's also connected to the galactics, and it's connected to that because it's connected to Uranus. It's connected to that evolutionary sort of energy as well. So we're going to have a lot more connection, I think, with different sorts of species and connections, a lot more evolution. We might see more downloads from people coming forward. There'll be a whole new way of looking at things. Aquarius could also be connected to healing, so we could actually see some new ways of being in terms of some of the new modalities and new healing methodologies, which are going to take us really and truly into some very interesting places, but not in a traditional way. The other thing with Aquarius is connected to community and groups. So in some ways, some of us are going to be finding our soul tribe, people who we connect to at a soul level, people who are going to help us on our journey and who we're going to support on their journey. And this will be a really, really exciting time for all of us as we move forward and as we jump into something new, something different, something that brings us into more alignment in terms of who we actually are as people, which would be really, really, really exciting. So from about now, we have all the planets moving direct as well. We've had a number of planets that have been retrograde, they've been sitting, going backwards, but now they're actually all moving forward. So this is a really important time. So there's going to be a big push, big movement forward, which could be very, very, very exciting as well. So in addition to this, we have Mercury that's gone direct in Capricorn, Uranus that's gone direct, which is really important as well. So, and some of this happening around the 22nd. So there could be a time when there might be some changes and some shocks, things moving forward, things we didn't expect happening. But it's linked to the truth and things becoming much more clearer as well. And it could be that things are coming forward or things are being seen that have not been seen before, which could be shocking for some, but for those of us who are on our spiritual path, it might not be so shocking. It might just be that they're authentic ways of being and doing things that we know that are now coming forward in a sense, which is really, really, really important. This is a new moon and this is a supermoon. So they say it's a supermoon because it's very, very close to the Earth. And so that means it's going to come together and actually have a lot of impact. Now, this new moon, as you see the moon here, is in the early stages of it's within it's generally within a couple of degrees of the sign of Aquarius. So again, this is saying that this is a new time. And in fact, we have a number of moons this year that are all going to be in those first couple of degrees of whatever sign they're in, which again sort of highlights that this is a real time of things really getting started, things coming together, things moving forward in a really progressive way. So this could be really, really exciting. We also have a number of planets in fixed signs. We have 4 of them in Aquarius. Aquarius is a fixed sign. And what we have when we have planets in fixed signs is that they tend to be fairly stable. It's about committing. It's about moving forward. It can also be a bit rigid, but at the same time, if we can work with that, and we look at that in terms of the stability it brings, it's going to be a really positive time to basically build some things, which is really, really important. So Pluto will start to move into Aquarius. That will happen around March. And so this is when we're going to really and truly take our freedom back. And Pluto will yo-yo in and out of Aquarius until it moves in there permanently by the end of December 2024. So we're going to start to see glimpses of new changes, glimpses of new things coming through. So it's going to be in Aquarius Pluto from March until about June. So that'll be really important in terms of just starting to see some new changes, some new things coming through. Then it'll go back into Capricorn for a period of time and then move back out again. So lots of toing and froing, which is going to bring some interesting things coming up for us as we move forward. Jupiter is at 4 degrees of Aries. Here's Jupiter. And it's sextile to the sun. So it's with those Aquarian things, when we have a sextile, it's actually a very supportive aspect. So with Jupiter, wherever Jupiter hits, it's going to expand. It's going to want to expand. It's going to want you to go bigger, want to expand yourself, do things differently, and also find some sense of justice, because Jupiter is very much about justice, which is really, really important. We also have Manway here in Pluto. It's actually in Pisces, sorry, very close to Manway's here, very close to Jupiter as well. So in a sense, Manway's he's like the archangel, one of the highest archangels, connected to Archangel Michael. So there's going to be a lot, and when he comes in, he brings in a lot of renewal, a lot of evolutionary energy, and it's bringing energy at a higher level, which is really, really, really important. And it's also connecting here to Celestia, because Celestia is at 6 of Aries. So these planets are very, very close to Jupiter. So Celestia is that mermaid energy, that photonic energy, that higher conscious, that shimmering light. So here we have a lot of support on a more galactic, more wider level, bringing us and shifting us into a sense of consciousness. So for those of us who are aware of that, it could feel at times a little bit ungrounded because we have all this energy around us, but at the same time make us feel very, very exhilarated as well. As we start to get more downloads, as we start to get more information, those of us who are psychic and clairvoyant might have more development in those sorts of areas of our life. We just may feel really, really expansive within ourselves, which could be exciting, but at the same time, a bit daunting if we don't basically sort of connect to the ground as well. And this is bringing in a sacred sense when these what we call corporate objects come into the play. It's like it's really and truly bringing in that sense of excitement and joy. And there's also a connection here. Up here we see Kwawa, which is again one of the corporate objects, and this is about community, coming together in community as well. And they're forming this square actually between these other planets, and that can mean a tension. So it can mean a tension between expanding and creating and bringing all those excess, extra light, extra consciousness, extra sense of well-being with a sense of community. But the positive thing about Kwawa is that she's connected to the Rapa Nui people, and in a sense, what they did is that they knew that the way to work was to create through joy. So in a sense, if we can get ourselves working together, we have this expanded sense of consciousness, this expanded knowledge, and we can actually start to really tap into our joy, tap into whatever brings us joy, and bring ourselves back into our heart space. This is going to be a very, very, very powerful time and an exciting time if we can actually really come together with all of that as well. So this is really, really important. There's a conjunction here with Venus and Saturn here, also in Aquarius as well. So there could be developments and changes around money, around our sense of value. You know, on a broader level, it could be money, financial institutions, because Saturn's about structures and government. But it could also be within ourselves. If we look at that on a personal level, it could be about our sense of value, our sense of internal structure in terms of what we value, who we think we are, etc. And the positive thing about Saturn being next to Venus with that very, you know, with that sense of responsibility and structure and order and mastery is that it can really be a time when we actually start to bring that together, where we can actually look at what we really value, what's really important, even look at our money, you know, and what's important in terms of our sense of abundance as well, and really start to put some structure around that, which is really, really good. It can also happen on a broader level as well, because there could be new currencies coming in, new ways of valuing each other, but it's also, you know, maybe new ways of new beauty techniques and healing, etc. as well, new ways of looking at ourselves. So Mercury now is direct, and it's direct in Capricorn. So in a sense, it's actually starting to get really, really clear about what it is that it actually wants, because Capricorn brings forward a lot of structure. And it actually feels like things are really getting moving, which is really, really positive, because Mercury is about communication and about gathering information as well. And Capricorn's great because Capricorn will bring it structure, it'll bring it order, it'll bring it together. So if we've been wanting to get out there and master something in terms of our communication, writing, getting on YouTube, this is a great opportunity to do those things as well. So we're really moving forward in lots and lots of positive ways. Um, and Mars as well. We have Mercury up here in Capricorn, but we still have Mars down there in Gemini as well. So Mars, you know, Mars has been fairly important on the new scene, and because Mars is in Gemini, which is an Earth, which is an air sign, and Aquarius is an air sign as well, and it's actually forming a supportive trine. Mars is going to give us this extra boost of energy, this extra excitement, this extra sense of determination, of courage, you know, to actually start moving forward, you know, around what we're wanting to do, and actually start to communicate more clearly about what we're also wanting to do as well. We also here with this new moon, we have a connection here to Taurus as well, because we have Aquarius is a fixed sign, Taurus is also a fixed sign. So we have here what we call a square, and this new moon is squaring our north node in Taurus, which is about our way forward. It's about nature, it's about our value, it's about bringing, you know, some sort of structure, some earthiness, some groundedness to what we value, etc. And it will sit in that sense, that space until the 1st of July, when it moves out, and that north node will move into Aries, very different energy. But at the moment, that north node is sitting next to Uranus. So there's changes here. Lots of Uranus is what Uranus rules Aquarius. So there's lots of changes, lots of disruption around what we value, what we see as beautiful, what we want to plant in the earth, what helps us, you know, in terms of grounding. There might be changes in terms of our financial situation. So there's real movement here as well, in terms of what's happening here and what's moving forward, which is actually very, very exciting. One of the other things about Aquarius, it actually starts to really show us who we are energetically, which is really, really important as well, because it brings us into that sense of our authentic self, that part of ourselves that knows ourselves, those unique gifts, those talents, those traits, etc. And there's also new openings as well, because we're moving into that sense of being into our authentic self as well. So this is going to be a really, really exciting time. So Mars is also interacting with Chiron. Chiron is here in Aries with Jupiter. So this is also helping us, because Chiron is the healer, helping us heal and move forward into more senses of who and what we are. And because Chiron is so close to that Jupiter, and Jupiter expands this is what I'm saying around the fact that there could be, in fact, expanding ways of healing, expanding ways of healing technologies, certain things changing, which could be really, really exciting for us all. So, with Aries, the great thing about Aries is that Aries is the warrior. Aries is brave and courageous, and Aries just said, let's just go for it. Let's just get stuff done. And so there could be a sense of risking here, you know, risking to do something different, risking to do something you've not done before, risking in terms of even going within yourself and maybe healing parts of yourself that you hadn't thought about before. They'll allow you to move forward and move more into that sense of authentic self and who you actually are and who you're going to be. So there are things coming through, which is actually really, really exciting at this particular time of this particular new moon. And so we're actually moving forward in terms of what are we looking at? What are we renewing? What are we building? And this could be a very, very exciting time, but also remembering that we're building, in a sense, within a state of consciousness with real intention in terms of where we want to be, but also from a place of joy, passion, and excitement. And this would be a very, very important time for us all. So, with that, I wish you a happy new moon. I hope you find joy and passion and love, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.